Hey everybody, it's Caleb Curry here with Caleb Curry Reports and Predicts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you could hit like and subscribe for future content, it would be greatly appreciated. Hey, so today we're going to go over the governor's election. Now, these races will be a little slower, but we definitely will be using these to springboard our discussion, this governor's video, on the state legislative races that are coming up. Now, of these states that have have the governor's races this year, only two of them will be featured, and only one in that is a true battleground in our state legislature battleground series. But we do want to go over these. I do want to go over these governor races. There's 11 of them. We won't be going over all of them. So Washington, Utah, Missouri, Indiana, West Virginia are very safe. One, of course, Washington for the Democrats, and those others for the Republicans. Also, I think it's Delaware as well. They have a safe governor's race for them. Now, Vermont and New Hampshire are leaning Republican, but we will go over those as well. The big one to actually go over is Montana. Now, this is to succeed a Democrat governor, Steve Bullock, who's running for the Senate, who I actually do not believe will win that Senate race. I think Steve Daines will beat him. But Bullock, the guy challenging for that position is Republican Greg Gianforte, who lost to Bullock 4 years ago. He is the current U.S. House Representative member from Montana, so he's already has won statewide, and he also famously body slammed a reporter before the election and still won. So he's quite a controversial guy, so the Democrats might think that maybe they'd be able to pick it up. But for them, sadly, if you're a Republican, happily, it looks like that won't happen. Gianforte is up in every poll from anywhere from 8 to 9 points to 3 to 4. I do think that he will pick that up, and that would bring the overall Republican governors in the country to 27, to the Democrats 23. Now, if you multiply that by 2, that would be 54 to 46, and we know the Senate map is not exactly that, but this does show that the Republicans, kind of the advantage that they have in the Senate race, and helps them in some ways in the Electoral College. Now, we're also going to look at Vermont, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and we'll look at Vermont first because, one, it's a deep blue state and it has a Republican governor, but it does have a historically, not since for the last 20, 30 years on the national stage, but it actually used to be a very Republican state. And if you can see here, Governor Phil Scott there is up in the polls. He's 42, 35, 35, 23, 10. Well, that was from back in 2018. They run every 2 years in Vermont and New Hampshire. So yes, I do believe that Phil Scott will be reelected in Vermont. And before we get to New Hampshire, let's make just a point. You have these New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. Those states there, actually, people don't realize that they have Republican governors. And actually, since the last, I think 4 out of the last 5 governors of Massachusetts have been Republicans. The last Democrat they had was DePaul Patrick, and before that it was Michael Dukakis. So the Republicans in the Northeast have had some success. Governor Chris Sununu in New Hampshire, which we'll go to next. His father, John Sununu, was a popular governor as well, and Chris Sununu again it will be his 3rd term. It looks like he's cruising to re-election. He's definitely has a future in the Republican Party. Chris Sununu does now that, and it's very important that he is so popular because he has a state Senate election there. The Republicans don't really have a chance in the state house, but in the state Senate they could flip. And as I will go in that into it in a video later on. I actually think his popularity actually will do a lot in that uh, race. And we go to North Carolina, where, as people know, I predicted that the president will pull it out of North Carolina. But if you go over here to the polling in North Carolina for the governor's race, both the governors and the Senate race are outliers to the presidential one, where Trump is barely leading in North Carolina and it's very close. The Senate race, not as close. And then you get to the governor's race, where Cooper, his worst polling, Emerson has him only up by 6. Some of these other polls have it more. Emerson, of course, is the best rated poll that has taken place, so it may be closer to that 6 mark. But right now, I do think that Governor Cooper will get reelected. Now, they also have a Senate contest for the state Senate there, so your U.S. Senate, President, Governor, and state Senate elections all in North Carolina this year. And so I have a video of that. It's leaning Republican, but we'll go more into that later. Now, these governors and these state legislators races that I'll be doing later, the reason that they're so important, especially this election, is whoever wins this year will be in charge of redistricting in the future, and redistricting will happen in 2021. So it's very important how these maps are drawn, whether it's in the state legislature, but also for the U.S. House of Representatives, they determine that as well. And in some of these states, Arizona has a competitive state legislature race. Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are very important. So we will go into that at a later date. North Carolina, very important. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means so much to me. If you guys could like and subscribe, it means so much. Thank you guys, and have a great day.